Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining. I'm really excited about this month's meeting. We've got some good stuff to share. It is, of course, November, and let's get to it. So today we're going to go through, I'll do a presentation on our progress. We're going to talk, hopefully, about action button so we can get that clicked as much as possible and then have an open discussion. Just to review, the End Kidney Death Act is a 10-year pilot program that will provide for every American who donates a kidney to a stranger a refundable tax credit of $10,000 each year for 5 years, $50,000 in total. We estimate that this will save the lives of up to 100,000 Americans, as well as up to $37 billion in taxes. And of course, our aim is to live in a country where no American will die while waiting for a kidney. This is a reachable goal because this is a solvable problem. Just to keep you posted on the number of meetings we've had, as of today, we've had 315 House meetings, 92, and we had 230 last time we talked a month ago, so we're making good progress there. We have had 92 Senate meetings, meaning we've got 8 more to go, and at last month we had only 88, so that's great progress, for a total of 407 meetings. We've met with 76% of the congressional leaders, and we are aiming for 100%. We must put the pedal to the metal, and then the NKD Death Act will pass either this session, this congressional session, or in the spring. That's what we're aiming for. In September, we had 2 co-sponsors. In October, we had 6 co-sponsors, and I'm now very happy to tell you all we have 12 co-sponsors. So it's going in the right direction, and we're making great progress. We are aiming for 30 plus co-sponsors in the next month. So I just want to extend a gigantic thank you to those people who have helped us get co-sponsors. These are mostly constituents, though some live outside of the district. And these are people who have attended meetings with congressional staffers to let them know that it's urgent that we pass the End Kidney Death Act. So I just want to go through the names of the people who I'd like to honor. For Representative Maliotakis, of course, our lead sponsor, Brian Temple, was on the call and was very persuasive. With Representative Harder, it was just good fortune that we had a great meeting. Representative Bacon, who was an original co-sponsor, along with Representative Nagoose. Representative Bacon, Subin Tiker, a non-directed donor, helped us get that co-sponsorship to the finish line. On the Representative Nagoose meeting, I had multiple people on that call, a whole bunch of constituents: David Schwartz, Patty Graham, Jennifer Knowles, James Montavon, Jeff Blumenfeld, and Lawrence Stella were all very helpful there. With Representative Desposito, we had this fantastic team that helped us get 2 co-sponsors, and that will be the Long Island, New York team, Shannon Mulroy, Lisa Callis, Guy Callis, and Mike Lala, who's on this call. Unfortunately, Representative Desposito was not reelected, so he will not be the co-sponsor. If we do go into 2025, we will need to say goodbye to his support, but I'm really grateful for those community members who helped get that to the finish line. And of course, they also helped with Representative LaLota, who's listed later on in the list. Representative Holmes Norton was just derived from a meeting. Representative Peltola, unfortunately, also not reelected, but on the call were 3 Alaskans: Matt Freund, Mary Trimble, and Emily Tan. Representative Van Orden's co-sponsorship was really due to the hard work of Mark Scotch. Of course, then we've got Representative Moskowitz and Representative Smith, Representative Wasserman Schultz. Those all were just as a result of our regular meetings. And then Representative Wiley Nickel, he did not run for re-election, but he just came aboard as a co-sponsor. I'm thinking, let's get this bill to the finish line as soon as possible to start saving the 25 lives a day that are lost from the kidney wait list. And that was from Stephen Sitchie, who was on the call there. So thank you. Having constituents really matters and often gets us to the finish line in terms of getting someone to champion the bill. So please express your gratitude to those publicly so we can share appreciation. Here's just some examples. Feeling such gratitude to Congressman Nickel for co-sponsoring the End Kidney Death Act, help us pass this legislation that was put on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Another tweet that we put out thanking Representative LaLota, Moskowitz, Smith, and Wasserman Schultz. When you see these, you can either create your own or please share ours so that we are definitely getting the word out that become a champion of our bill and you will be publicly thanked by multiple people. I think that is a key strategy for us. So please try to remember to either share our posts or create your own. And here are some more, thanking Representative Desposito and Eleanor Holmes Norton, as well as Representatives Peltola and Van Orden. We need far more co-sponsors. This is the way it works in Congress. So the way it works, actually, just to give you a few details, is that co-sponsors come aboard before the committee votes on the legislation. And it's a way of saying this is a well-supported bill and lots of people will vote for it. Come aboard. This is going to the finish line. So the more co-sponsors we have, the more likely our bill is to get to the finish line quicker. So as I said, we have 12. We're aiming for at least 30 by next month. So what can we do? We can ask our House representative to co-sponsor the End Kidney Deaths Act. And here are some examples of letters that you can write. Today, I read a few emails from one of our community members. She sent it out to the people she's met with in South Carolina, congratulating them for their victory and asking them to become leaders of this co-sponsors and champions of the legislation. And then of course, there are certain members, and we'll go through their names, that we have not yet met with. And as a constituent, you are the key person to get that meeting. So this is an example of an email that you can send to your congressional leader if we have not yet had a meeting with them. And I'll be sharing my slides when I send my follow-up email. So I just want to go through and give you a sense for who we have not yet met with, because I think this is very important. I do have, and I have shared a document that shows this, but I thought it'd be nice to take a look at this during our presentation. In Alabama, we have 3 members, Arizona, 3 members, Georgia, 3, Hawaii, only 1 left, Idaho, only 1. There we've got Illinois with several members, Indiana with quite a big bundle we have not yet met with. Of course, Kansas, 1 remaining, which is a huge accomplishment because at the beginning of the month, I met with no one from Kansas. So I'm really happy that we got that going, and Kentucky 3 and Maryland 2. Here we've got more members that we really need to meet with. So I don't know if you have connections in these states. Perhaps you know people who could be helpful to us. But Mississippi 2, Missouri, a whole bunch. Really going to focus on Missouri this upcoming month. Montana, Nebraska, North Carolina. Just take a look. You can see that quite a few members we have not yet met with. And the list continues, unfortunately. Ohio has a big bundle, Oklahoma, Oregon, really made a lot of progress with Pennsylvania this month. Got to meet with that South Dakota rep. I'm in touch with them now, and hopefully that meeting is coming along. It's a few Tennessee meetings in the last week, but need far more. Utah, we're almost finished. Virginia, we're almost finished. Washington State, still some outliers. Would love to meet with the West Virginia and Wisconsin final members. And then, of course, you take a look, California, still an enormous number we have not yet met with. And then Florida, still gigantic. Michigan and Texas, lots and lots of members we still need to meet with. We have met with members in all congressional members in these states. So that's encouraging, but I would like it to be all 50 states. So let's work on getting more and more meetings. And you can help me by getting these meetings by reaching out to your congressional members. If we have already met with your congressional member, perhaps you know people who live in the districts that I have just shown you. I want to share some interesting news, and that is there's something called the Declaration of Istanbul, originally created in opposition to transplant tourism and the black market, which you may or may not know, 10% of all kidneys are black market kidneys, and that's just an estimate. And so they are opposed to the black market as we are, but unfortunately, they are also opposed to any kind of compensation for organ donors, and they're getting a lot of backlash for that. So they are now thinking of revising their statement. So I went to a meeting that we had, and actually the meeting was about the End Kidney Deaths Act. Very exciting. So they had most of the major organizations present, and the meeting was very exciting. And the highlight for me was at the end of the meeting, because this is an international group, this is a global organization, that one of the transplant leaders in Egypt came up to me at the end of the meeting and he said, "You must come to Egypt. We need the End Kidney Death Act in Egypt." And I didn't recognize until that moment that, where the US goes, oftentimes other countries follow. Once this bill passes in the US, we're not only going to save Americans who are dying from kidney failure, we're going to inspire and motivate countries around the world to develop and implement End Kidney Death Act and legislation of their own so they can begin saving the people in their country. So very beautiful experience to really understand that we are not only going to have a national impact, we will have a global impact. We just got to work hard to get to the finish line. Also want to let you know, I've had some great meetings with key leaders this month. One of them was Speaker Johnson's office, Speaker of the House, very, very encouraging. Apparently, that office really likes our bill and wants to see it pass. So in addition to many of the other offices I've met with recently, it is just very exciting that we are making progress from floor to ceiling. Now, do not forget, and I know I've reviewed this in previous meetings, that $37 billion, up to $37 billion will be saved in the next decade once the End Kidney Death Act passes. And that means that some people will lose out on $37 billion in their wallets, right? This is having opposition from those people who know that they will make less money from the kidney shortage once our bill gets to the finish line. So that is often the source of the opposition to our legislation. But I really think that we need to focus on Congress. That is our main aim. We need to persuade at least 51% of Congress that our bill is going to be the game-changing legislation that will save tremendous numbers of lives and also prevent millions of people from the heartbreak of losing a loved one to a preventable death. Now, something that happened in this last month that got me thinking that, our bill is even more urgent than I previously thought. And that is because there's been some really bad press about deceased donation. And I want to say off the bat that I am a huge fan of the deceased donation system. I am in awe that every year, even during COVID, they exceed their numbers. I think they are life-saving heroes. Of course, we all know there are bad actors, but there are bad actors in every field. But overall, I greatly admire the people who are doing the hard work of coordinating deceased donation and saving lives every single day as we speak. However, there has been some bad news from the deceased donation space. There was a case in Kentucky of a man who was declared brain dead and he walked out of the hospital. So, I would like to think this was a one-off bad apple situation, but as Greg Siegel said, I receive allegations like that with alarming regularity. So, unfortunately, the bad actors attract the bad press. And as a result, there's been a drop in the number of organ donors and the people who are stepping forward to be deceased organ donors. They are removing themselves from the registry. And so it's a catastrophe. I think there are a lot of rumors that this kind of stuff happens, and to read that it actually happens is extremely damaging. So some repair work needs to be done and some reforms need to be put in place, but it emphasizes the need to focus on living donation. And unfortunately, most people in the transplant world do not focus on living donation with the same fervor that they do with deceased donation. And as we know, living kidneys last 2 times as long as deceased donor kidneys, and we really need to get the supply to be increased. We have not had a supply increase in 20 years. Some good news on the front of our supportive organizations. In last month, I reported that we had 7 supportive organizations, and I'm delighted to let you know we now have 24 supportive organizations. So I put some work into calling up organizations and having meetings with people. And so we've greatly increased the number of people who are supportive of the End Kidney Death Act. And that is excellent because oftentimes in congressional meetings, the staffer will ask, could you send me the list of your supportive organizations? And now I'm very proud that we have 24. Of course, I'd like for it to be a far higher number, but it's a big improvement from last month's 7. A quick reminder, and I will put this in the in the follow-up notes that you can feel free to order one of these t-shirts. It's a way I wear the t-shirts every day unless I'm in a congressional meeting until the bill passes. And I know perhaps that's not your vision of what you want to do with your wardrobe, but I do think that wearing these shirts can be very helpful. And on the back side of it, it does have a QR code so that people can join our team if they're interested. Now, I have been encouraging everyone to click on the action button and fill it out to send letters to Congress. But I realized this month that my action button notification was broken, and I thought that we were up to 2,000 submissions, and I was extremely disappointed to find out that's just views. Of completed, as of today, only 522. So that means not even all of our community members have clicked on the button. We can do far better. And after I finish my presentation, I'm going to share the link with you, and hopefully then you will fill it out so we can increase that number. This is the way that we can have people very easily, with 2 clicks, let their congressional leaders know we want them to champion the End Kidney Deaths Act. So we only have 500. I'm aiming for 90,000. That's as many people as are waiting on the wait list, tragically, and hoping that a kidney will come. And so I'd like to increase that number greatly. Good news on the media front, we continue to get great publicity. We had super articles in NBC Washington, did an actual filmed news story. I gave a presentation to the Bay Area Association of Kidney Patients. On Jim Meyer's broadcast, there was an excellent segment where Nancy Marlin, one of our community members, spoke about the importance of the End Kidney Deaths Act. A really good article in the Palm Beach Post from a non-directed donor. Sally Sattel, who's I'm standing on her shoulders, as well as many others who've really put in tremendous work to get compensation of kidney donors going. She wrote a super article in the American Enterprise Institute. The Today Show did a great segment, and then of course there was the Houston article about Tom O'Driscoll. Really well done, and just really proud of the publicity that we're getting, and of course it's very helpful to us in spreading the word. In terms of kidney donor athletes, they continue to post every single day about kidney donation, and every few of their segments, they are sharing information about the End Kidney Deaths Act. So I'm going to show you one example of their artistry in just a minute. And of course, our next meeting is the first Tuesday of the month, December 3rd, from 5 to 6. This is the latest from Take the Next Step, Be the Next One, the Kidney Donor Athletes Advocacy. I'm so grateful to them.
Worth more, saving a life or $50,000. With the End Kidney Deaths Act, you don't have to choose. This is a new bill being introduced to Congress that would incentivize kidney donation by giving donors a $50,000 tax credit paid out over 5 years.
It's going to have an immediate effect, and that's why we need to pass this bill.
Right now, over 90,000 people in the U.S. are waiting for a kidney transplant.
There's 13 to 17 people dying every single day.
When you consider donating a kidney, you're considering giving someone the chance to live a longer, healthier life. The average kidney from a living donor lasts 20 to 40 years. Think about that. Decades of new opportunities, cherished moments, and time they wouldn't have had otherwise.
I do not want another decade to go by where 100,000 people are dying from preventable deaths.
With the End Kidney Deaths Act, you could get $50,000 spread out over 5 years for donating a kidney. That's $10,000 a year on top of knowing you saved someone's life. It's a win-win situation.
But we are looking for everyone to co-sponsor, sign on, get this bill to the floor. Let's get it passed before the end of the year.
So what do you think? Would you consider donating a kidney if you knew you could save a life and get $50,000 for doing it? Or is money not the issue for you? Maybe it's something else. Let's talk about it in the comments.